Hey guys, this is Anime Ball Z here, and today we're going to be doing the first part of what if Deku was a Hellhound. I know this is quite irrelevant to the video, but shout out to Black All Might, go and check him out. He has sick what ifs on My Hero Academia, which kind of inspired me to do MHA what ifs. So if you guys like me doing MHA what ifs, please put that in the comments. I really have nothing much else to say, so without further ado, let's get into the video.
Slick talker since a jet. Winter time, all the time, ooh, yeah. Look at the way that I move, swag. Disrespectful and I'm rude, okay. I had cocaine in the school.
Deku in this what if has one pinky toe joint, and his quirk is the Hellhound quirk. It isn't really a quirk, but that's what people call it. The quirk can also be called the Firestorm quirk or the Tiger quirk. These are the abilities of the quirk, and certain abilities could be retconned or revealed as we get into the what if. This quirk gives someone the ability to release fire from their bodies. Fire is only released from points of pressure and stress. An example of this is like clenching your fist. If you are really angry, then this is the point of stress, and fire will end up uncontrollably being exploded and released from the body. When filled with rage of an insane level, the quirk will activate and the inner beast will be released. In this form, iron and silver deals greater amounts of damage to the body. Also, you will grow razor sharp canines but no claws, and your eyes will go a fiery orange. Fire isn't released when standing still, but if you were to bite your tongue, for example, since fire can't be ignited there, smoke would just be released from the point of pressure. If you were to punch someone, a gush of fire would be released from the fist. After a while of activating the quirk and learning to control it a little, the quirk will evolve and the following will happen. Black-orange crackles will appear across the body, and hot black-orange fire is released from the crackles when pressured. This fire is hotter than normal Hellhound fire by 10-fold. Also, your physical attributes will be amped by quite a bit and your reflexes will be greatly enhanced. Deku doesn't see a touch of this quirk until he grows to about 5 years old. He sees that he has a sense of resistance to fire and heat. He was able to slam his hand on hobs, hold pots that were just used for cooking and many other things, and any burn mark that was there would just end up disappearing. Inko, his mother, just assumes it's something to do with his quirk because of his father's fire-breathing quirk. When he develops to about 8 years old, he had come back from school and a few hours after he went really hot. One of his teachers read his temperature and it read 60 degrees. This is supposed to kill him, but he survives because of his Hellhound powers. Now we cut to the kind of fight between Bakugo and Deku with Bakugo's gang as usual. Deku does the same stuff, but something changes. When he says, "I'll have to stop you myself," it sounds much darker and more growly, like a second voice is saying it behind him. Bakugo raises a brow when he hears it because of his voice. Deku's eyes go a fiery orange and he growls with ferocity. Bakugo doesn't look phased and explodes him right there and then. When the smoke is gone, Deku is standing unfazed. The finger quirk kid makes his move, but Deku kicks him away and the gush of fire releases from his leg. He gets slammed into the ground and gets knocked right out. The dragon wing kid, sorry if I don't know their names, please put their names in the comments because I haven't found out yet, rushes Deku, but Deku uppercuts him and a gush of fire launches him up into the air. Bakugo rushes Deku and Deku neck slams him into the ground. A gush of fire is released from his hand and Bakugo coughs smoke. Bakugo is released and he runs for his dear life. Deku stands and growls uncontrollably. The growl is so loud that the whole school hears it. When everyone comes out, Deku has already ran. Deku is sat in a closed area of the city and is trying to calm down. He starts exploding gushes of fire every now and then, but after a while he calms down and the power goes away. Deku can barely remember what just happened and has no clue where he's ran to and why. Deku grows up and his powers slowly start to show more. His reflexes from this day on onward are insane. He has enhanced hearing, vision, enhanced smelling and more. But he still gets more efficiency with these reflexes when he's using the Hellhound quirk. Bakugo stops calling Deku Deku but calls him Taiku from Taika, meaning firestorm. Bakugo and Deku reveal that they want to go to UA after the teacher talks about the hero trek. No one believes Deku can do it, but Deku knows he can do it because of his positive charisma and because he really wants to be like All Might. Bakugo says, "Taiku, you won't assign for UA." Deku says, I can't not go, it's my dream. Bakugo shoves him and Deku starts getting a little agitated. Bakugo grabs his notebook that he was holding, but Deku is very angry now. Deku's eyes go orange and his canines grow large. Bakugo remembers this look. He remembers it very well. Deku grabs the book back sharply and growls at the squad. Bakugo takes a few steps back while everyone else runs for their life. Deku clenches his fist and fire explodes from his fist. He says, "I will go to UA if I like." Bakugo gulps and Deku's quirk fades. After this, Deku heads home and is still trying to even remember what just happened. Deku encounters the sludge villain and gets caught by surprise. Deku can't escape and feels hopeless. He feels like he can't die now when orange crackles appear on his body. His eyes go fiery orange and fire explodes from his back. This is because the sludge villain is putting pressure onto his back. He turns and punches the sludge villain. His hand kind of just falls into the sludge, but this small pressure creates heat upwards of 250 degrees Celsius. The sludge villain runs away and manages to escape. Deku is growling quietly as well as having small fire puffs being released from his body. All Might arrives and Deku just rushes him since he has little control over the quirk. He tries to punch All Might but he easily blocks. Deku swivels around though and tries to kick him but All Might ducks under it and jumps back a bit. Deku growls at him and it's so loud that All Might has to cover his ears. Deku's quirk fades and he sees that he has burned and ripped all of his uniform. Deku says, "Oh no!" He looks up and gets so much shock from All Might just being there that he falls back onto the ground. Deku sees his book on the floor and he picks it up. He opens it to see All Might's signature as usual and he is elated. All Might is about to leave when Deku says, "All Might, can I still be a good hero if I can't control my quirk?" All Might says, "Of course you can. You will eventually get control anyway. It will just take a good amount of time and effort." Deku is so happy from All Might's words and he walks away with the thought of him actually being able to become a hero and maybe even become the #1 hero. Deku arrives at home really early and tries to activate his powers again. He doesn't really remember the quirk but he just remembers seeing some fire crackle on his hand. He looks at his hand in his bedroom and he tries to make himself really angry. He succeeds and a crackle appears on his hand and his eyes go a fiery orange. He pressures the crackle with his fingers and a gush of fire is released from the crackle. Deku falls away onto his bed and he is surprised about what quirk he actually has. He only had faint memories of the quirk because he doesn't remember using the quirk, but now he has a full mind about it. Deku tries to fuel his anger and his crackle disappears but his eyes don't. His large canines also stay. Deku hears a crowd screaming outside and he instantly breaks through his window. He runs across the streets at something like 50 miles per hour and quickly arrives at the crowd. His fire crackles return from anger and he growls at the sludge villain and jumps over the barricade with ease. He squeezes his right fist and fire explodes from his fingers and surrounds his fist. He jumps up to him and fire is released from his feet and he punches the sludge villain. The explosion of fire releases Bakugo from the sludge villain and Bakugo is coughing because he could barely breathe then. Deku growls into the air and fire swivels around his feet and up to his knees. Deku's eyes go black again and his canines disappear. Deku looks around and can barely remember coming here. Deku runs away and returns home. Deku comes in through the window and luckily none of the glass shards went into the house because he jumped from inside and there are only glass shards on the windowsill. Deku covers the window with one of his All Might posters and sweeps away the windowsill glass shards. Now we cut to the training of Deku. All Might says, "I need a new successor to the One for All powers. Your quirk seems complementary." Deku is surprised and says, "How?" All Might says, "Many reasons. When your quirk is manifested into that form, it definitely multiplies your power. About 3 to 4 times I estimated. That means One for All could instantly be quadrupled in overall power. Also, you were given heightened healing from the multiplier because of your type of quirk, and also when you finger flick in the air, a gush of wind won't come out, but a huge gush of fire of a bigger size will be released. It's just perfect for you." Deku gulps and after this they begin their training as usual. Deku easily takes the cars and scrap off of the beach and after his training he has become insanely powerful. Because of the 5% of One For All he uses, it's actually about 15 to 20% from the Hellhound powers. It's not actually 20%, but it feels like that because the power is being multiplied. Deku is now in the UA entrance exam. Deku still falls over and has his first encounter with Uraraka. Deku is presented the practical test by President Mike, and Deku has a great understanding of it anyway. Deku is at the entrance with everyone else and knows what he has to do to get in first. He is holding his middle finger and thumb together ready for a finger flick. The practical test commences and he launches up without using the Hellhound powers. This is a problem, and Deku sees his broken finger and eventually lands back on the ground and almost breaks his legs. He still can't walk though. Deku is enraged because of this, and his eyes go fire orange. His hurt legs and broken finger are quickly healed, then Deku runs around destroying robots. Deku already has something like 40 points when he encounters Uraraka being caught under the 0-point robot. Deku's fists get covered in fire, and fire comes from his feet up to his shins. He runs at the robot like a wolf or dog would with all fours and starts running up the wall of a stage building. He uses One For All on his right foot to propel himself off of the wall with immense force. Just saying, by the time he has punched the 0-point robot, his right foot is already healed. He clenches his fist and controls his One For All into his arm. He growls by saying, "Smash!" He punches the 0-point robot and it explodes in flames. He drops down and grabs Uraraka from under the robot. He says, "Are you okay?" in a growly voice, and Uraraka nods. Deku nods, then he runs on all fours away from the scene to gain a little more robot points because the time's almost finished. Deku ends up getting these points. He gets 44 villain points and 60 rescue points. This gives him a total of 104 points, way more than Bakugo's 77. Deku is elated when he gets his results back, and UA is surprised that they've got such a prodigy ready to come to UA. Some of them are even surprised how he didn't come to the school on recommendations, because he really showed his true colours then. Deku is elated and starts trying to control his power as well as controlling One For All. Deku sees that his name has spread across his city and pretty much everyone in UA knows his name and quirk. Deku is a little overwhelmed because he sees real pages on the internet about him and his quirk. Deku gets to UA the next day and everything happens with the encounter of Uraraka and Tenya. Except this time, everyone is trying to talk to him because of his new popularity across the city. It's even reached the UA school council as well as the pro heroes such as Tensei and Mount Lady. Deku is told about the whole quirk apprehension test thing and he is ready to show his new powers. The first test we go over is the 50-meter dash. He uses his Hellhound quirk but not his One For All quirk by fueling his rage, and from this, let's calculate his speed. In this series, Deku is about 30% stronger in his base and 30% better at every physical attribute such as endurance, speed, etc. The Hellhound quirk normally triples this, so we have to drop his time to something like 2 seconds. I know it seems like a lot, but it's practical. I won't nerf him or anything. The next test is grip strength. If we use the same calculations from before, we should get 216 kilograms of weight force. The next test is the standing long jump. Deku makes this flashy and uses both his Hellhound powers and One For All quirk together. A huge gush of fire is released from his feet and he slingshots so far up in the air. He lands so far forward that he gets near the top for that one. The next test is the ball throw. He smiles because he can actually use all of his quirk's power this time. He controls his One For All into his finger as usual, and if we use the same calculations, as well as the fire launching the ball further, he should get an astounding 2,748 meters. Deku smiles because he knows that he did really well. The remaining tests just fall under the calculations to about triple the strength, maybe quadruple on some. The final results is that Deku gets third, below Todoroki Nyarurozu but above Bakugo, Tenya and everyone below that. This means that Mineta is expelled from UA. People are surprised that Deku didn't get first, but Todoroki and Nyarurozu got here from recommendations. So he actually got first out of the people that went through the exam. Deku ends up becoming the talk of the town and arguably one of the most popular people in UA entirely. So that will conclude the first part of What If Deku Was a Hellhound. Please like and comment anything that you liked about this What If or anything that I should improve on for the next part. If you really like this What If, you can subscribe and put on post notifications to be told when the next parts of this What If will be uploaded with great accuracy. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.